All right. I mentioned in my response to Dark Phoenix, which was a brief description and a collection of updates on my work, that I had five, count them up, five separate rants to deal with how Fox treated the source material. This is just an introduction to those rants. Look, as some of you have likely gathered, I have Asperger's. One of the traits is I see a lot of connections where others don't. I have replay of video in my head frequently with pretty good recognition quality. And this gives me a unique perspective. As very few of you have likely guessed, I was a major Fox Kids kid growing up. And it's one reason I was a little slow to leave behind Saturday morning cartoons. Normally that would be a foolish thing to tell the internet. However, given that the X-Men animated series dealt with the Pheonix the Pheonix saga at all, and the Dark Phoenix saga infinitely better than the live-action movies did. That suddenly makes me more qualified to discuss this. Congratulations, Fox. You played yourself. See, here's the thing. Dark Phoenix Saga takes place not only after the Phoenix Saga, but is fallout from it. See, Jean Grey has been separated from the X-Men, and despite her vast psychic power, she thinks they're dead, and she comes under the influence of Mastermind from Magneto's original Brotherhood of Mutants, back all the way in X-Men Volume 1, Issue 4, and he spends years screwing with her until he thinks he can control her to gain access to something you may have heard of before called the Hellfire Club. And they were featured in X-Men First Class. Sebastian Shaw, leader of the New York branch. That's right. They operate in branches. Emma Frost was, in fact, in it, but not Azazel, not Nightcrawler's demon father, who decided to reinforce that notion as canon. Okay, that impulse is out of my system. Glad I didn't say that online. But seriously, whose idea was that? Anywho, the Hellfire Club needs a great test to grant Jason membership, and they, after this travesty and debacle that somehow doesn't get them all killed, they go on to be major threats for the rest of the decade. Then the 90s happen, and a bunch of upstarts decide to destroy everything that writer Chris Claremont I'm thinking Dave Cobb probably nervous, but Chris Claremont ever made in order to make their marks. So we'll just focus on the Hellfire Club for now. In the animated series, there's none of that long stuff. The intervening space is one episode that actually aired later and features Cyclops leaving the X-Men, unable to take the presumed death of Jean after she flew the M'Kraan crystal into the sun. If you don't know what that is, buy yourself some classic TV episodes. Yes, the animation is incredibly dated, but what do you want? They used cell-based stuff back then. They used animation cell-based stuff to tell the story because Fox couldn't be bothered to really do it justice ever since. And this was Saban and not Fox. It just aired on Fox. Calm down. Maybe taking less caffeine at this hour. Calm down. Okay, my frustration at executive bungling aside. I mentioned that this was going to be a bunch of rants, right? Yeah, well, I'm ranting, and I'm sucking caffeine, and I don't mess around when I rant. I mentioned I see a bunch of connections while I'm trying to keep my course and stuff straight. I've had to rehearse this multiple times because the problems I see relevant here, I see relevant to lots of things, especially Ghostbusters. Basically, everything that working against Ghostbusters behind the scene is amplified here because in that movie it was only one movie. In this, it's how they handle the entire franchise. Yeah. Basically, Emma in the TV show, Emma Frost handles exposition duties and tests whether or not this keeper of a massive force of creation and destruction that in the comics fought off Firelord, renegade herald of Galactus. I don't know which of you know who or what Galactus is, but he's not a massive cloud like in that Fantastic Four movie. No, he is not. In any case, now that I have power scale sorted out, they make their move to control it in just one night by having Jason Wingard again, somehow calling himself Mastermind. Don't play with fire. That's what the Pheonix is. An enormous cosmic bird of fire, despite the fact that there's no atmosphere in space. Suddenly it sounds like I'm overthinking this, but I'm trying to stick to adaptation points here. In any case, sorry, lots of distractions. I lost my train of thought. In any case, he does it all in one night instead of over multiple years, for the sake of timing, but the results are the same. Jean Grey thinks that she is her ancestor, Lady Grey, a real cruel piece of work. In old New York high society, they even get the outfits right. X-Men First Class couldn't get the Hellfire Club's outfits right for their membership and whatever. Of course, it's one thing to illustrate short shorts and corsets for and capes for Saturday morning blocks on the small screen. It's quite another to ask actresses to actually wear that for a blockbuster. So they'll be forgiven for skipping that in an adaptation of a whole other storyline. But it's hard to think. Too much noise going on at once. Because I'm trying to keep all this straight in my head. I frequently describe my consciousness as a web of consciousness, whereas other people have stream of consciousness. I have to constantly get myself back on track, and sometimes there's not a straight line to A to B, from A to B for me. I understand sometimes neurotypicals have this problem, but I have it a lot. Predictably, something goes terribly wrong with control, psychically killing off Cyclops, and using the mind of his lover in the process. Yeah, not such a mastermind after all, are you? I mean, even Fox had to cut some things. Even the Fox Kids version had to cut some things out. Like going to see Warren Worthington Angel, not the girl from First Class. I keep having to bring up that movie because that's the one that actually had the Hellfire Club in it. I see the white-haired woman trying to control Jean in the trailers, and I think, oh, it's Emma Frost. We were supposed to see Emma Frost in the Hellfire Club in a three-way for Control the Pheonix with the Brotherhood and the X-Men in Bryan Singer's X3. We couldn't even get that screenplay adapted into a graphic novel. Come on, Disney had not bought out Fox yet. You could have used the sales from that to offset X3 shortfalls. I'm not here to complain about that movie. That's a lot of hit and miss for me. So I'm neutral on it. It averages out. In any case, in any case, well, then the Shi'ar Interstellar Empire, who the Phoenix helped save from their Mad Emperor to Ken and the Emkron Crystal in the Pheonix Saga, have to get involved. And this time the X-Men don't have the interstellar pirates known as the Starjammers. You want to get a feel for the Starjammers, watch Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Compare each and every Guardian to their comics adaptation. You'd be all, what the hell happened to these people? And then you compare them to the Starjammers who appear in the Pheonix Saga, and you're like, did I miss something? Or maybe that's just me. Then big battle. Because of course, trial by combat it's not just how Klingons settle disputes, but the Skrulls and the Kree also get involved, and no fair, the Shi'ar are hiring Sidrian bounty hunters, these big flying manta ray things. And they're already going in with the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, who are an alternate company equivalent of DC's Legion of Superheroes, so they've basically got to fight Superman, Marvel power scaling equivalent, rather than the Sentry, who is Marvel's power tier equivalent to Superman. Damn it, this Sentry was supposed to be a one-off thing. Excuses, not supposed to go off topic, but okay, feel better. So here's where it differs. Jean has had her Phoenix suppressed at the encounter at Daddy's home before they all got zapped up into space. And then she sees Cyclops struck down, and it starts coming back out. And in the comics, she activates a ray gun that sacrifices her and was originally supposed to just depower her and destroy the Phoenix, and basically the cure before the cure. The cure in the context like we saw in the actual X3. At that last stand. And let's see here. The thing. If you can hear that, yes, that is a rainstorm out there. In the TV show, she gets hit in the back with a massive cannon from space, and the Phoenix is separated from her, takes a piece of all of her teammates and compatriots, brings it back into her, and it's all status quo-y again. And this takes place after it was revealed that nope, that wasn't the real Jean. See, this She-Hulk era Fantastic Four found her in Adam Warlock's old cocoon, and look, she rises like a phoenix, like pre-Phoenix Jean, and it was stupid. Stupid how they brought her back so that she'd be around for X Factor, in which the original 5 X-Men, now adults, are taking on children of their own to train and whatever, posing as the exterminators, and Look, this rant is supposed to be the rant that ties them all together. The Battle on the Sexes rant, the animated series rant, the Starjammers rant, other rants. It's gone on long enough. Point is, if you actually want to see the Phoenix Saga and you want to watch it, check out Comic Book Girl 19 synopsis of it. She has cool little motion comics to introduce you to the world of the X-Men in the printed version. And then part 2 is the Phoenix Saga. Part 3 is Dark Phoenix. She and her friends provide voices. And there's a massive amount of lore and world building, very efficiently done. Or you can go onto iTunes or order from Netflix. You can the X-Men, the animated series, the Wolverine-centric 2-part teaser, then the Phoenix Saga, then the thing that comes later, the 1 episode, Scott on his own, facing the Purple Man, and some of X Factor's charges, and then you go through the Dark Phoenix Saga, and then the special Starjammers episode. But gonna leave it from here, and then pick it up with the Starjammers. Please like, comment, subscribe. People keep encouraging me to explain from my high-functioning perspective, and this is one of the few areas where I find any inspiration to try of how I can make that clear. Clear-ish. Thanks again.